Ladies and gentlemen, let's Red Gaming Telecom video. Let us discuss Lorne Lanning. Now, you may remember just a few days ago that I gave a series of quotes from Lorne Lanning regarding the performance of the Xbox One and the PS4. Now, Lorne Lanning is, of course, the Oddworld creator. And he was misquoted, actually, several times over by various different websites. It started out with Xbox Achievements because they posted an excerpt of an interview with Lorne, and the actual excerpt, the article, was titled "Performance Gap Between Xbox One and PS4 Will Disappear," says Oddworld creator. Anyway, this started to circulate around the internet very quickly, and people don't generally do fact checks because this is going to sound quite harsh, and I don't mean it to be, but a lot of people just want to grab the web traffic. And so here's the thing: when I did my own version of it, I said specifically that, you know, I think the guy got misquoted, and here's what I think he meant. And so anyway, it turns out Lanning has actually said it would be physically impossible for the Xbox One performance to align with the PS4. He said, and I quote, and this is, by the way, of an interview with Just Add Water's CEO, Stuart Gilray. Now, this one is from worldsfactory.net, and if I remember, I will link it in the description. If not, you can just Google it. And he said, and I quote, "Actually, that is not what he said. I spoke with Lorne afterwards, and what he meant when speaking to that guy was the budgets, schedules, and perceived differences would narrow. Not that the Xbox One performance is improving to align with the PS4. That is just physically impossible. The PS4 has more compute units and faster memory and a whole bunch of other things. It would make it physically impossible to happen." And so, this is basically what he meant. He's basically referring to development costs and the time to go live, which is pretty much what I said in my video. Now, here's the thing. What he was basically referring to is back when the Xbox One was initially being developed and before the actual system was released, developers bitched quite heavily regarding about how difficult it was to develop games on the system. And it took them roughly twice as long on the Xbox One as it did compared to the PS4. And so Microsoft diligently worked on the tools to improve this, and they did. And now it takes a lot less time and a lot less money, because time is money, right? Let's say you have to pay a group of developers, let's say there's even 20 people in the team that are working on porting the game to the Xbox One. Let's say they have to work another 3 months on that project because it takes twice as long as the PS4. Let's just make up arbitrary facts and figures, because why not? Well, they're not going to work on that project for 3 months for nothing. They're not going to do it out of the goodness of their hearts because their version takes longer, and so, you know, they feel that they shouldn't get paid in those 3 months. No, they're going to work their butts off, and they will want cash. So here's the thing: it reduces development costs because manpower is, you know, generally it's software licensing, distribution, manpower, and a few other bits and pieces, really depending on the business, that type of thing. But digital games, obviously, mostly manpower to actually create the stuff. And so, in this respect, hardware can't change after all, and there's only so much that you can do with software updates. Now, software updates regarding the Xbox One are improving the situation quite significantly. We are seeing much better driver level improvements, which are improving the performance of the system. We are, of course, at some point next year going to be seeing DirectX 12 update, but as I've discussed on the channel previously, you can check that out yourselves. I have some doubts regarding DX12 and the Xbox One and the performance, because here's the thing: Microsoft themselves, here's the key word, Microsoft have said, not, you know, some dude on the internet. Microsoft have said that DirectX 11 is already fairly low level, right? So because of that, it has to be a fairly low-level API because it's a console at the end of the day. I mean, PS4, if it wasn't low-level, it wouldn't be nowhere near as impressive performance as it is. Console hardware compared to like a modern-day PC isn't that great. It's the fact that it's a fixed specification with low-level access and a couple of other bits and pieces that really make it an impressive system. So the Xbox One is already using DX11, which is fairly low level, but obviously there are some further improvements on DX12, primarily regarding the way it deals with various buffers and GPU commands, and there's a few other bits and pieces in there as well, and no doubt a few extra bonuses that Microsoft haven't given, but it's certainly not going to be seeing this 50% extra CPU performance the desktop systems are using, or seeing, shall I say, on what was it? 3D Mark 2011, I think they were using it on, and you saw a rather significant improvement on multi-threading simply because of the way DirectX 11 on the PC deals with things. But this isn't really so much the case on the Xbox One, which is a good thing in my personal opinion. So once again, he simply was misquoted, which is fairly easy to do. You can get misquoted very, very easily, unfortunately. But as I said, he's not attacking the Xbox One. He's just merely pointing out the specification differences. And to illustrate his point, of course, the PS4 does have more compute units. It actually has 18 versus 12 of the Xbox One. However, the PS4's GPU's clock speed is slightly slower. It's 800 versus 853, and that's why you've got that large gulf in GPU compute power. You're looking at about 1.32 with the Xbox One versus about 1.84, obviously rounding up / down for the PS4. So there's obviously that rather large difference, and the main one that he's obviously pointing to here is the memory, which obviously PS4 is using 8 GB of GDDR5, which is providing about 176 gigabytes per second memory bandwidth compared to the Xbox One's DDR3. Interestingly enough, however, there are a few developers who have already gone on record and have actually somewhat blasted the PS4 and said, you know what, it really depends what you're doing with the PS4's memory, but in some cases you can still run into memory bandwidth issues. Speaking of which, well, actually not anything to do with memory bandwidth issues, but it's kind of a segue. We're currently doing an analysis of Infamous Second Son in terms of the recent PDFs and documents that have been released, and we're also going to be doing one for the Order 1886. There's going to be some other exciting bits and pieces popping up on the channel as well. So, if you guys would like to check those out, well, check them out this weekend, my good sir or good lady. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.